his Bears on the flight. Let me go tune in to Keek on the mic. He gon' make sure we get our news and highlights. When you get on YouTube, you better hit the like.
Hey, what's going on, Bears fans? Thank you so much for joining me for another episode of Keek on the Mic, the podcast all about the Chicago Bears. As always, if you're new to the channel, make sure you hit that subscribe button and the notification to catch all Bears content right here on the podcast. First and foremost, Bears fans, happy Tuesday to every single one of you guys. I hope you guys are all having a really good day. Before I go any further with today's episode of Keek on the Mic, and this is just because I dropped the ball in yesterday's video right here on the podcast. I was supposed to play Claws Up after the Chicago Bears' big preseason win at Soldier Field on Sunday night against the Buffalo Bills, and I forgot to add the Claws Up anthem to that video. So Bears fans, I owe you one. So without further ado, it's time to put your claws up.
Hey, yo, Ma, get to the bed.
Bears fans, throw your claws up. Midway monsters, yeah, we all up. Bear down, that's for all us. Let me see you do your thing, throw your claws up. Bears fans, throw your claws up. Midway monsters, yeah, we all up. Bear down, that's for all us. Let me see you do your thing, throw your claws up. NFC North, we the hardest in our section. When you hear that bear down, you better get to stepping. Light it up with us, you gon' think we use them hit sticks. Feel like Jalen Johnson take this beat for a pick six. Cali to Chi-Town, his Bears on the flight. Let me go tune in to Keek on the mic. He gon' make sure we get our news and highlights. When you get on YouTube, you better hit the likes. Matt Forte, Walter Payton. They sweat me like I'm Tez, cause I'm all pro in the making. So tell me why they hating. We about to take over, they gon' feel what I'm saying. We really back and we ripped off the script. Feeling like Hester when I pop off these kicks. They just mad they ain't pop off like this. We are the Bears and you know what it is. Oh yeah, Bears fans, throw your claws up. Midway monsters, yeah, we all up. Bear down, that's for all us. Let me see you do your thing, throw your claws up. Bears fans, throw your claws up. Midway monsters, yeah, we all up. Bear down, that's for all us. Let me see you do your thing, throw your claws up.
Once again, Bears fans, I appreciate all your love and support when it comes to that Chicago Bears anthem, Claws Up. It is now officially a year old. Once again, huge shout out to my boy K Hooks, the main guy that was singing in that Claws Up anthem. Definitely something I want to make a tradition, especially when the Chicago Bears win. Didn't get to play it a lot last year because the Chicago Bears only won 5 football games. So hopefully the trend will be that after every single Chicago Bears win, not only on the live stream right here on the podcast, but the video the next day, I will go ahead and play that Claws Up anthem for you guys right here on Keek on the Mic. So do me a favor and comment down below in the comment section, Claws Up, to show your support for the new Chicago Bears anthem. So Bears fans, this is going to be a loaded show today. On today's episode of Keek on the Mic, there's a lot of different updates and things I want to discuss with you guys, just get your guys' opinion, and you guys always interact with me very, very well. So once again, I definitely appreciate that. First and foremost, some big news in regard to the starters playing against the Kansas City Chiefs in the final preseason game in Kansas City on Friday. Ben Johnson sat down with Kay Adams, and he did confirm that the starters will play this Friday against the Kansas City Chiefs. He did not indicate on how long they will play. I'm hoping that Caleb Williams gets a couple more drives just to get more acclimated before the season opener on Monday Night Football against the Minnesota Vikings. But it all depends on the rhythm and how Caleb Williams looks. If he goes out and, executes like he did against the Buffalo Bills, then maybe it will be less. If he goes out there and struggles a little bit, maybe Ben Johnson will keep him out maybe for a couple extra drives. But all in all, I think it's going to be good experience once again for Caleb Williams and the Bears starters and even the starters on defense to get some live reps in a very hostile environment. We all know that even though it's just preseason, the Kansas City Chiefs fans will bring the energy. So being in that environment, especially when you are learning a new offense, I think could be a good learning tool and hopefully another confidence booster for Caleb Williams and the Chicago Bears football team. Now moving on to a couple of different updates in regard to the last preseason game at Soldier Field against the Buffalo Bills. This was actually according to Fox Sports PR. They said this past Sunday, 5.1 million viewers tuned into NFL Fox preseason coverage of the Chicago Bears 38-0 victory over the Buffalo Bills, delivering the network's most watched NFL preseason game since 2021. And this is obviously a cool little stat to share with you guys on today's episode of Keek on the Mic. I think it just really showcases on how excited the NFL world is to really see Ben Johnson and that relationship with Caleb Williams. Just see what Ben Johnson's already been able to accomplish in terms of the culture. Once again, I mentioned it the other day. You can tell that all these players are already bought in on what Ben Johnson's bringing here to the Chicago Bears. So not only Bears fans are excited, that the whole world is excited to see Ben Johnson as the new Chicago Bears head coach. And it proves with the stats during a preseason game, 5.1 million viewers for a preseason game. It is absolutely crazy. So once again, I thought it was something cool to share with you guys on today's episode of Keek on the Mic. So now moving on, and this is actually kind of an interesting little funny thing I wanted to share with you guys on today's podcast as well. Kay Adams the other day actually sat down with Amon-Ra St. Brown, receiver for the Detroit Lions, and Jahmyr Gibbs, their running back for Detroit Lions. And she just brought up the facts and, hey, did you guys actually watch that first drive of Caleb Williams and, Ben Johnson's offense against the Buffalo Bills that are night? And they kind of just sat there for a little bit and they said, yeah, we can't lie. It looked good. And Jahmyr Gibbs even mentioned the fact that, hey, it was kind of weird to see, the plays that we used to run, right? And, obviously Amon-Ra St. Brown said at the end of the clip as well, that, as long as they don't do it against us, we are all good. It's definitely going to be a matchup that's going to be circled on Ben Johnson's calendar. And, for the Detroit Lions, going to be circled on their calendar as well. Obviously, we played the Detroit Lions week 2 at Ford Field. So that's definitely going to be a homecoming that Ben Johnson and Detroit Lions are going to be looking forward to. But what I'm going to go ahead and do is share this clip with you guys on today's episode of Keek on the Mic. Check this out, Bears fans.
Did you guys watch the first drive by the Bears? Did you guys watch? Are you guys catching on to this Ben Johnson stuff, his intensity? What do you guys make of that?
Yeah,
I mean, the smiles kind of say it all.
We watched it.
What do you guys think?
Watching the fellow Trojan Caleb, watching Ben, watching the offense operate.
What's your takeaway?
It looked good. It looked good.
It's funny watching the same plays like we ran. Work. It's funny.
Same plays.
Yeah.
Okay.
Hopefully, it only looks good for
exactly
2 more weeks.
Once again, Bears fans, I thought it was absolutely hilarious because you can tell from both Jahmyr Gibbs and Amon-Ra St. Brown's face that they're like, yeah, we can't lie. He looks really good. Caleb Williams looks really good as well. And, as long as they don't, look that way against the Detroit Lions, we'll be all good. But definitely with the impact of Ben Johnson, they understand the ability he has as an offensive mind since they actually played in his system. They know very well what Ben Johnson can do for Caleb Williams and the Chicago Bears offense. So definitely a funny clip that I want to share with you guys on today's episode of Keek on the Mic. So Bears fans, before I let you guys go on today's episode of Keek on the Mic, there is a couple of, trade ideas that are kind of going around in regard to the Chicago Bears. And one of the names that's kind of floating around right now is Brian Robinson Jr., currently of the Washington Commanders. The Commanders made it very clear that they are looking to move on from him, whether it's via trade or just cutting him. And the Chicago Bears have been inserted as one of the teams that could possibly be a possible destination for Brian Robinson Jr. And personally, I am definitely interested as a Chicago Bears fan. He's only 26 years old, stands at 6'1", 200 plus pounds. He's on the final year of his deal, and he's definitely that physical, imposing running back that would possibly be a very good fit alongside DeAndre Swift. Here, my big thing is this. I'm not sure if I want to give up any draft capital. Maybe if it's a sixth round pick, maybe I do go and just give him that draft pick. But if the Washington Commanders possibly just cut him at the end of this, maybe the Chicago Bears could just wait out this scenario. And maybe if he gets cut, then go out and swoop him up. And I think he would be an outstanding addition to the Chicago Bears football team. And I know a lot of people will say, well, Keek, Ian Wheeler is playing well, or, what about Kyle Monangai or Roschon Johnson? Kyle Monangai and Roschon Johnson are both dealing with some injuries, which why it would probably make sense to bring in maybe some extra competition. And when you're looking at a guy like Brian Robinson Jr., he has been a very consistent running back for the Washington Commanders. Yes, he has dealt with his fair share of injuries, but when you look at his stats from 2022 on, he has averaged almost 800 yards rushing, had 8 rushing touchdowns last season. And once again, I think it would just be a perfect complement to what we already have in DeAndre Swift. I'm not saying to ignore what Ian Wheeler has been doing in the preseason because he's looked impressive. I'm not saying ignore what Kyle Monangai has been doing in the preseason because once again, he's also looked impressive all the way through this training camp. Even with Roschon Johnson, I think there's some value there as well. But the fact of the matter is those guys are kind of banged up with injuries right now. So maybe if it makes sense for the Chicago Bears and, obviously they have to worry about paying this guy as well, and they feel like he fits in what they're trying to build here, especially on offense, it could be worth the call to the Washington Commanders to see what it would cost to add a guy like Brian Robinson Jr. So I'm definitely interested, Bears fans. Let me know down below in the comment section if you think Ryan Poles and the Chicago Bears to call the Washington Commanders to see what it would cost to trade for Brian Robinson Jr. and bring him to the Chicago Bears. So Bears fans, the last thing that I wanted to show you on today's episode of Keek on the Mic is Adam Schefter giving an update on the current state of relations between Micah Parsons and the Dallas Cowboys. To me, this is an ongoing discussion, and you guys all know my stance on the whole Micah Parsons and the Chicago Bears. I think if the price is right, I think they should go out and try to make this blockbuster move to really get us over the top to hopefully compete not only in the NFC North, but within the NFC as well. I just personally feel that this is the type of move you make when you have a young rookie quarterback that you believe in. They've already built the offensive line from. You brought in Ben Johnson. The hype is there. Now, if you bring in Micah Parsons with what you already have in Montez Sweat, Grady Jarrett, Javon Dexter, what we have in the secondary, this can be a big-time move for the Chicago Bears. But Bears fans, check out what Adam Schefter had to say about the current state of Micah Parsons and the Dallas Cowboys.
You can't get a deal done if you're not even talking. And the two sides haven't had any negotiations since late March or early April. And it sounds like at this point it's personal. It sounds like each side is dug in. The Cowboys have come out and said what they said publicly at the start of training camp, which Micah didn't like. Micah came out and asked to be traded, said he was ready to move on from Dallas, which I'm sure they didn't like. And right now, both sides seem to be angry. Now, have other people put those feelings aside in the past and figured out a way to work out a deal? Yeah. I don't see that happening here. I see these two sides headed towards a divorce in time. The only question is, when is that divorce going to happen and how is it going to happen? Are they going to trade him now? Are they going to trade him after this year? Are they going to move on when? But it certainly doesn't feel like these two sides want to enter a long-term relationship together. That's the way it feels today, and we'll see if they do anything to change that before the regular season begins in a couple of weeks.
So overall, Bears fans, definitely something that we have to keep a close eye on. It seems that day by day that this relationship between Jerry Jones, the Dallas Cowboys, and Micah Parsons is deteriorating. And, obviously Adam Schefter said it firsthand that he feels that a mutual divorce is on the way. He just doesn't know when. And here's my thing for maybe the Bears fans out there saying, it's going to cost too much. Let's not mortgage the future. Here's what concerns me. It seems that the Green Bay Packers are also very interested in Micah Parsons, and it would really suck to see Micah Parsons go to the Green Bay Packers. So I know that's not really a strong case on why the Chicago Bears should go out and trade for a guy like Parsons. But for me, he is a franchise altering player, right? A guy that's going to come and change the outlook of this Bears defense for the better, especially under new defensive coordinator Dennis Allen. And obviously, when you look at what Dennis Allen is trying to do, he is trying to attack the quarterback constantly. And that's what Micah Parsons does well. 52.5 sacks in 4 seasons with the Dallas Cowboys. To me, this is the no-brainer. Once again, I understand the cost will be high in terms of trade compensation, and then he wants to be the highest paid defensive player in the National Football League. So I understand that that's what's deterring Chicago Bears fans from wanting to make this move. But I think at the end of the day, if Ryan Poles and the Bears actually made this move, there wouldn't be one Bears fan out there that would be unhappy about having Micah Parsons on this Chicago Bears football team. So Bears fans, let me know down below in the comment section if you are still in or out on Micah Parsons, hopefully being or possibly being traded to the Chicago Bears. Let me know down below in the comment section. But as always, Bears fans, make sure you guys continue to hit that subscribe button and the notification to catch all Bears content right here on the podcast. Make sure you follow me on all my social media platforms, and make sure you share this episode of Geek on the Mic with every single Bears fan that you know. But other than that, be back for our all-new Bears podcast right here on Geek on the Mic. Thanks, guys, and as always, bear down.
You ain't bout it, you ain't bout it, you ain't kick on the mic. You ain't bout it, you ain't bout it, you ain't kick on the mic. You can go and subscribe, cause I be on it right.